Lords who spoke in relation to these amendments, and for appreciating, even if not supporting, the spirit of what they're trying to do. Although I did actually, despite that, I do actually want to do this rather than just that it's a spirit. But I know that the Noble Viscount Younger feels that practically it won't work, whereas I think that we've had a slightly contradictory answer there, because they're absolutely the last resort and they're hardly ever going to get used, in which case they're not going to clog up the court system, to be fair, or they're going to be used a lot more, and that's all the more reason why they should go through the courts if they're going to be used liberally from the point of view of a safeguard. So I did get confused in relation to that. But there's been some very thoughtful points made. I think the Noble Lord Vaux actually usefully probed the Minister in a way that I wasn't able to do, just in terms of, well, exactly when and in what circumstances. And I think that these questions about the distinction between error and where the overpayment came from, I think do matter in relation to these powers that have been created. I think that the Noble... Yes, of course, yeah.
I'm really sorry to interrupt.
No,
I never get to say that anymore. But, I'm really sorry to interrupt. I just thought it might be helpful for the committee if I clarified. The Noble Lord Vaux referred to clause 89. That actually refers to recovery, to administrative penalties and recovery for non-benefit payments, not for benefit payments. So, I think I should have made that clear. That might be helpful to the committee. So, I'm sorry to interrupt Lady Fox in her full flow. I'm sorry about that. Please do she carry on.
No, and it's very helpful if these things can be clarified, and I can appreciate that as you see, every time we have committee, I've got so many pieces of paper, so I'm not saying that I'm on top of all the detail, but I'm trying to become... But I think it's important that, in the spirit of the way that the Noble Lord Palmer motivated his support for these amendments, that this is not just... It isn't just the detail. There is something important in terms of a principle here. And I really liked the Noble Lady Baroness Bennett of Manor Castle's viral film, because I think that people do care about what this bill is, its impact is going to be. And we have to be able to answer all the questions as the legislators who are moving it. People know we're involved in it. And sometimes I do feel as though it's unclear exactly what is going to be required by all these powers. Anyway, just to say, the problem with saying that these powers will hardly ever be used is that they are powers that are going on the statute books that can be used in a wide range of, and each of the times I completely, I'm not going to talk about the bank statements yet, but the reason I raised it in this section is that before that DDO can be introduced, you've got to check through the mechanism of affordability checks that we're going to go on to discuss. And I think that is a breach of privacy. And I think giving the DWP the powers to do this needs to have a check. And the way we have historically done that is we've relied on the courts in terms of money taking. And if this is related to that, that's why I was trying to see if this could be a useful check to make sure that these powers aren't exploited. That we've got plenty of a time to go, but I do think that some of us may come back to a version of this, but potentially better worded, when we get to report stage, because it is not just it's not just flying the flag for civil liberties. There is a reason why. I can't remember who said it now. I think it was the Noble Lord Palmer. You have to have trust in the system. If this bill is to be taken seriously by people who do not think it is just draconian, do not do the caricatures that the Noble Lady, the Minister, wants, then it has to be watertight in terms of safeguards and protections, as well as the powers that it creates. Those two things have to live together. Otherwise, it will be discredited before it even hits the statute books.